What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Mad Max. Another episode of Chronicles of the Asylum. We've got... This is the second time we recorded. This is going to be the first one you guys get to see. The king of the yard, the deathmatch jackass, Indianapolis' very own, Dale Patrick. Dale, thank you so much. I know you work in the morning. It's late. I'm tired, so I know you're tired because I'm an hour behind you guys. But thanks for jumping on. Lots of big stuff going on in the AWR world and stuff you're very involved in.
Yes, sir.
We've got the Asylum Wrestling School. We're gonna get into that right away. We'll circle back and talk about the card. We'll do a little shoot here. Dale's intimately familiar with this card. Dale, and I'm now promoting myself to. We're on the booking committee. I've decided. I call Gary twice a week, and here's what I think we should do. I don't know if Gary has listened at all yet, but I'm going to start saying we are going to do this and self-promote to the booking committee because that's just what I'm going to do. Fake it till you make it, right? The booking committee idea works so great in mid-90s WCW. It's going to work great in AWR as well, right?
I hope so.
How do you feel about shaving your head and calling you Spartacus? Are you okay with that?
Won't be the first time I've been bald.
Anyways, we got to stop. We got to not smoke before we do these shows. That's what it is.
I feel you.
I'm not going to do that though. The Asylum Wrestling School first class is, as this podcast drops, probably in a day or two. September 7th is the first class at the Emerson Theater. Guys, I can tell you these prices are insane. I went to wrestling school 15 years ago and paid a lot more money than that to get kicked out after a month because I didn't want to be a worker. For 10 months, it's $2,000. Or if you want to do monthly, it is $200. And Gary's even said that he'll work out a payment structure with anybody, so you don't have to bring, 2 C notes with you the first day. So the first thing, we're talking to the lead instructor right now. That's why we're bringing it up. Dale has trained, frickin' everybody, or been involved. If there's somebody in the Midwest circuit that's coming up right now, Dale's had a hand in training them. Dale's learned from the best. The dude's a fucking dragon. What do you expect? It's you're gonna be exposed to some of the best wrestlers. I know I'm hearing names of people that are coming in to do stuff. We got to remember when Gary brings in big names to AWR. A lot of times those guys are doing seminars, so you'll have first crack at getting in those. It's going to be a really big deal. So, Dale, go ahead and talk about what people can kind of expect when they show up on the 7th.
The way I run things is very structured, I like to say, with some... There won't be, strict, you know what I mean? It's not going to be super strict. Just come prepared to give it your best. Always come in 110%. Don't come in and expect to become a professional wrestler overnight. That's not how this works.
Wait, it's not?
If you want to, if you want to do something, if this is something that you love to do and you really want to do, then you put in the work to actually do that. You actually put in the work to become what you want to be. It's 10 months, like Max was saying. You're going to be learning from everything from lucha to just simple basics. Sometimes those basics are what people are lacking on nowadays. Like you were saying, people come in, we'll be doing seminars. I'm going to have a few guest appearances here now and again. Some people just to give a different side, different facet on wrestling, because not what I'm going to be teaching you is what's going to be the bread and butter for you. Maybe someone else's mindset of way of doing things that's going to be that way too. There's tons of ways to do professional wrestling, there's tons of ways to learn behind the scenes. I'm not trying to give away too much. There's a lot of behind the scenes stuff. You're going to be learning what to do and what not to do. Pretty much is what you can expect the first day, is to pretty much sit down and learn and get ready for the first day of training.
Yeah, I can tell you as someone that's, well, I did go to wrestling school for a month, like I said. My first forays into wrestling locker rooms were not that long ago. Luckily, there's a couple of vets that kind of grabbed me and said, "Listen, you're not a worker. Don't act like a worker. But if the workers are being held to a standard, if the workers are called to a meeting, be standing around by the meeting as well. If someone's getting yelled at, mind their business. Stay out of their business. There's a lot of stuff that goes on in a locker room. Well, it is a very individual sport. That is still a team in the back, and Drew's going to hate being looked at as a good guy, but Drew kind of grabbed me ahead of time and goes, "Here's what you do. If somebody offers you a blunt, you take it. If somebody offers you a beer, you take it." It's their way of building camaraderie and showing that they trust you. There's just a lot of things that I've seen, even in the 3 shows I work now for Gary for. Some of the young kids that are coming in don't have. And I think that's your trainee right now that's helping out a lot with the long hair, the blonde kid.
Jeremiah. Yeah.
Yeah, Jeremiah. I mean, that kid freaking gets it. He's at the arena. We'll pull kayfabe back here for a minute and go shoot. So there's this thing called call, and it's the time that the promoter says you have to be there. And Gary is super cool about call time. Generally, it's what time do you want to get there. But there is an ultimate, I think for the last 2 shows, call's been at 5 or 4:30.
Yeah, 4:30.
And, I roll in probably at 3:30. I want to talk to the workers before they start laying out matches and stuff. I'm going to be the guy that's bugging them and pulling them aside from the important shit to try and sell some tickets and stuff. So I try and roll in early, and Jeremiah's there before me. And that's the stuff that's super important in this business. And I can tell you, the second the last bell rings, the podcast guy bounces. I get out of there because I have a 2.5 hour drive home and have to work I have a conference call at 8 o'clock every Monday morning. So these Sunday shows are rough, getting home at 11 o'clock at night and getting up to that call. Plus 2 kids to get on the bus at freaking 7 a.m. So it's a brutal morning. But Dale can teach you, and Dale's taught me a lot too of that stuff. It's the, hey Max, just slide over here for a few minutes. Let the boys are working some stuff out. Give guys 10 minutes to breathe before you grab them when they come up the steps. Yeah. Because it's with the podcast I want to get, or the video cast, I guess I gotta quit calling it a podcast. I want that gritty look. The what WCW had and WWE had when they were grabbing guys as soon as they were coming through the curtain. But there's also a little bit of respect that you have to have for the guys. They need 5 minutes to catch their breath and get the sweat wiped off. And, the deathmatch guys, while I want them covered in blood, they still want to get the blood out of their eyes and, get a drink of water. So
to add a little bit to that, not to interrupt you.
No, please.
Something that was taught to me whenever I was first getting into business, trained by Billy Rock. So obviously everything, his main focus was respect is second nature. And what that means is that if you give respect and you show respect, you're going to get respect in return. You don't automatically demand it. Right. You work for everything that you have or you want. Wrestling is not a type of sport or professional or entertainment that things are just handed to you. You work for them. So like, I teach my kids that don't ever come into a building or a promotion that you've never been to and expect to immediately work there. You have to earn their respect. You have to earn their trust. You're going to have to, it's called green boy duties, or green girl duties. You pay respect by setting up the ring and tearing down. That's how people are noticing you and getting seen, because when people are off messing around, you see kids that are doing such things, like they're going to get opportunities. To me, it shows so much. that you actually care about a place if you do that kind of stuff.
Well,
So I always teach my kids, always sit up and tear down everywhere you go, no matter where it is. Someone's always gonna be like, I respect the hell out of that kid. He always fucking works hard when he comes here. He's always doing his best. He's always showing, showing what he can do, and he's showing that he actually wants to be here. And that's the part that means
Might
a
have to
lot
start
to
the
me.
car for a minute.
Yeah, I know. So those are just some of the few things that you're going to learn.
And touching on that a little bit, I know when you got to, oh man, I spoke too much and I can't remember the show before September to Remember, or before Rotten to the Core, Fallout.
Yeah.
You were very upset that one of the people you had trained was chilling in a corner talking with someone else. And you're like, why isn't that person in the locker room? And then you're pretty upset that someone did not show, which I think we were all pretty upset by that. There's a lot of people there to see that person, but I remember that being one of the things you were upset about. And there was something else that bugged you, but I remember thinking, this is a guy that he sees these kids that he's put a lot of time in, and he instantly sees them throwing that stuff back. And Dale's kind of the Undertaker at AWR now. He dates a model, obviously, and like the Undertaker did. He sleeps in a casket, and he puts mascara on. He takes the mascara off before he goes out. It's weird. I think he does that for him. I mean, with the jacket you were wearing at King, I could see some mascara with that. Some cute little pigtails.
Got it.
By the way, I saw that jacket on you. I almost pissed my pants laughing. I know we're talking about a rival promotion, but it's King, and it's okay to talk about King. I almost pissed my pants when you came out in that Harley Quinn coat. I'm like, this motherfucker is about to have a barefoot death match, and he's wearing a Harley Quinn coat around. I mean, it made my day.
My thing is always to make someone laugh, and if I'm able to make someone laugh, I've done my job.
I can tell you, in Lowell, Indiana, there was a guy marking out pretty hard for that.
And also, it goes into the jackass thing. You know what I mean? Right. Do goofy and stupid stuff. You know what I mean? I'm not the type of person that takes things seriously unless I'm provoked, aka Nick Gage. But off that, you know what I mean? It's just stuff like that. I'm not the type of person that gets. I'm not very good with verbiage or English language, so.
If you need a manager, I know a guy that's a real good talker, and might be willing to walk out with you. He's at the shows. And all I'll say is it's all he's wanted to be since he was 4 years old as a pro wrestling manager. So, I mean, you want to make a dream come true, you could be the freaking Make-A-Wish Foundation, but whatever, Dale.
Hey, I don't run the place. So
well, we're on the booking committee. Self-appointed booking committee members.
Got it.
I'm going to be Harley Race. Who are you going to be?
Dusty Rhodes, even though I'm nowhere near Dusty.
Dude, from now on, at every show, the entire time you're in the locker room, you got to have the lift, baby. Got to have the lift.
I don't want there to be a possible cancellation. I don't want that to happen.
Got to bleed, baby. Red meat. And talk about how you're from Atlanta, even though you're born in Austin. It's weird. So, real funny story real quick. So, I work for a company that's based out of Texas, and my boss is from Austin. And he and I were in Pittsburgh last week. And we're driving around Pittsburgh, and I'm doing Dusty Rhodes impressions and talking about Southern wrestling with him. And he's like, I don't even know who's the impression you're doing. And I'm like, I don't even know if we can be friends. I'm like, how are you from Austin, Texas, and you don't know who the Funker is or Dusty Rhodes? He's like, well, what year did they like? He's like, when was? Because we were talking about wow, I gotta quit smoking so much. We were talking about the the Von Erichs and all that, and he's like, well, when were they around? And I'm like, It doesn't matter when they were around.
Oh man.
Kerry Von Erich is still good to watch today.
Yeah.
You watch a Von Erich match and you're like, holy shit, work rate.
Any of the Von Erichs.
Telling a story in the ring? When are they going to move to the high spot? But yeah, he said that he didn't like wrestling, and I am now reevaluating my career. Sure, I make $100,000 a year, but maybe I'll have to figure out a new job.
Or you could just teach them. You can make them watch stuff.
Not interested, because I'm like, hey, I've got the network. Come to my hotel room tonight, and we're gonna watch some shows from some Atlanta wrestling. Get some Texas in there. You know, really show them some good stuff. Like the last Battle of Atlanta is on the network now. And I'm like, this is 1986. Or watch Flair for the Gold with Flair and those guys, and that I'm like, there's got to be. And he's like, nah, I'm gonna watch a basketball game. Like, he's like, why would I want to watch fake sports? I'm like, first of all, not fake.
You think it's fake? What's that? Is that fake? Huh? What the hell's wrong with you? That's open hand slap, huh? You think it's fake?
Second of all, the NBA is so much more fake.
A technical foul call. Well, it was his own teammate, I think. It was actually Damari Carroll.
Than anything that happens in a wrestling ring. I'm like, sure, the end might be already. We might know who's supposed to win, but I can tell you firsthand that the big deathmatch tournament that just happened this weekend, there was 2 finishes in that show that didn't go the way they were supposed to, and so even when we know when there's a sheet of paper written down in the back on what it's supposed to be, sometimes it changes on the fly. So wrestling is not as predetermined as people think, and I bumped in that ring last month at Rotten to the Core, and sure, it gives, and there's padding there, but fuck, my neck still hurts.
Yeah,
so, dude. And I didn't bump into barbed wire like somebody else. So, as 2 stoners have completely lost their train of thought.
Yep.
I swear, this podcast, especially when I get on with a guy like you that I really enjoy talking to, sometimes we get way off the train of thought. And I'm sure there's people screaming at their radios right now, talk about the school. Yeah. So anyways, September 7th is the first class. What's kind of like, is it one class a week? Is it always going to be on, I don't know, it's the 7th of Monday?
It's going to be once a week every Monday. So if there's 5 Mondays in a month, I don't know if there may be 2, not sure. Anyways, off topic.
Definitely got 2 Mondays in a month. There's usually 4, sometimes 5.
Yeah. Every Monday. Okay.
All right. And then when's the class start? When's it get over? How long do you expect to be there?
I have 2 different ones going on. One is at 11 a.m., and those are for the students that are starting at the school the 7th. Obviously, it lasts about anywhere from 2 to 4 hours. For the first few or so months, it's mostly going to be, you're going to learn how to take bumps. You're going to learn, the simple basics, the simple fine tuning stuff. And then we'll progress from there. The afternoon, almost like super late night, is for people who are about ready to graduate here in about a month. So.
Okay. So don't concern yourselves if you're listening to this and you don't already know about the late night class. It's 11 a.m. on Mondays, which might be kind of rough for some people, but if you want to make this happen, if this is your dream, change your off day to Mondays. If you work 3 to 11s, I'm sure you can get out of there at 2:30 if you have to get to work. Dale's a pretty accommodating guy.
There was times, and I know people are going to have excuses of why they can't come. I get it. Whenever I was training, it was on Sundays, and I was working 3rd shift. So I would come in on late Sunday nights, and I would be fucking sore as shit, every part of my body hurting, and then I would have to go and pick up, anywhere 50 to 100 pound boxes and put them on shelves above my head, or move around, or do whatever hard work at work. So if you really want to do this, you'll make time for it.
Yeah, and I remember, not that it's the same, but it's similar. When I went to firefighting school, so I have a degree in fire science, and when I went to firefighting school, I was working 3 jobs, wrapping up college. We're going to fire school 3 nights a week, and then I had to be at a radio station at 3:00 in the morning. Yep. If you want to do shit, you've got to make sacrifices. You've got to figure out how to do it. The easiest thing to do is sit in your house and make an excuse of, oh man, if Dale would do that class at 4, I would totally go. But I got I got online class, or I got this, or I got that. This is the chance to chase that dream. This is the chance to wrestle. Dale's got guys that he's trained that wrestle on TV weekly. Dale's got guys that are, correct me if I'm wrong, but ROH and Impact, right?
Not yet.
But close.
No, not yet.
I mean, you've got
Close.
people that are close and getting sniffed around, and people you've helped train have been on national TV many times.
Yeah.
There's not. I mean, run down the list of organizations you've wrestled for, if off the top of your head. Combat Zone.
CZW, GCW, Shakara, St. Louis Anarchy, Beyond Wrestling. Just did ICW not too long ago. Been to Florida, been to California. I've been all the way to the West Coast from the East Coast.
And this is a guy that started. He wrestled. Was it Prince that you had to donate? You had to sell plasma to get to.
Yeah.
So
I didn't have money to make it to the show that day to be in this deathmatch tournament, and I sold my plasma to even make gas money to get down to the deathmatch tournament to compete in it.
So you can't have an excuse. There's no fucking excuse. This guy was in a deathmatch tournament after selling his fucking blood, and then he went and donated blood to the Mat Gods that night. So, I mean, there's no reason to have an excuse. If you want to be a wrestler, you know, it's like Dana White says, so you want to be a professional, so you want to be an Ultimate Fighter. If you want to be a professional wrestler, and damn sure if you want to do the deathmatch stuff, there's no one out there. The Dudley Boys School costs $10,000 to go to, and that's in Florida. If you live in Indiana, Florida and $10,000 are not options. Sure, there's a couple schools out in New Jersey too, but those are expensive, and they're in fucking New Jersey. If you're in Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, Michigan might be a little far, but Illinois, and you want to learn from one of the best in the fucking business, he's right there. The Deathmatch Jackass is right there, and Dale can work. Just because Dale's kind of made his name as a deathmatch guy doesn't mean he's going to teach you how to deathmatch wrestle. The first thing you'll hear any deathmatch wrestler say is, you need to have a solid base as a regular wrestler, and you have to actually be a pretty good wrestler to consider doing death matches. Shitty wrestlers that go into death matches are hack and slash guys, and they do that shoot style baby stuff down in a federation that's got a Confederate flag on it. If you want to do that, that's definitely shots fired. If you want to do that shit, you know, you can probably go down there and get booked without even going to school. But if you want to be a real wrestler, not a yarder, this is where you need to come. But we've spent enough time on the school because I told Dale I do get 20% of everybody that books after this show. So we'll have to figure out a way to monitor that. Motherfucker's got a party.
There's a lot of people
been down that road
nowadays. Yeah.
What's that?
I said, yeah, I've completely agree.
Okay. So anyway, September 7th, do they need to get a hold of you before they come?
They can get a hold of me, message me. I'm Del Patrick's on everything, or get a hold of AWR. They have they have a flyer up with all the info they need to know and where it's going to be and all that stuff, and they'll get that from them.
And also, let's get one more little piece of business out of the way. Where can they get that dope ass Team Thick shirt that you wore out?
You're gonna have to hit up AWR for that.
Okay, but what about what you got?
Super exclusive at this moment for myself.
Yes, because I wanted one, and I was about to lose my shit. And Gary's like, "No, there's only one." He's like, "I'm gonna make a Chronicles one for you, Max." I'm like, "I don't want my own shirt. How big of a mark for yourself are you if you wear your own shit?" I remember when I was fighting MMA, a lot of guys would wear their own T-shirts, and I'm like, I don't know about that. I don't know about wearing a shirt with your own name on it, but
there's something. Kevin Nash and I watched shooting interviews, you know.
Yeah.
So been watching like Kevin Nash and all that stuff, and he was saying you never wear your own shirt. If you do, that it means you're a mark for yourself. You always want to wear your buddy's shirt because it promotes them. Yeah. So.
Yeah, always wear your buddy's shit. And another unwritten rule of wrestling is if somebody buys your shirt, you have to buy theirs.
Yep. Or trade off.
Yeah.
Trade shirts.
Or trade. I've got to get some Chronicles shirts printed for all three people that listen. My mom, Gary, and Sam Mitchell all listen to the show pretty exclusively. So, other than that, in all honesty, though, we're seeing 25 to 5,500 listens. Dale thinks he's going to bring 3 to 4 solid listens to this show, so I'm looking forward to that.
And it'll be
bring those numbers right back down to where we
watching it 3 times. So
Dale's mom's going to watch it. His wife and his girlfriend are all going to watch it, and we'll get our 3 listens.
No, just me 3 times. That's it.
Everybody else is tired of hearing about the wrestling bullshit, right?
Everyone's just tired of hearing me. That's what it is.
My wife says, I don't care about AWR anymore. But I have 7 more things to tell you, and then we can move on to something else. And we're in the process of looking for a house. So now the deal is for every house we talk about, I can talk about one wrestling thing. So I have a list of wrestling things I want to talk to her about. And she talks about a house, I talk about some wrestling stuff. I feel like she doesn't pay attention, but I can talk about wrestling. Yeah, my 6-year-old falls asleep when I talk about wrestling. My 5-year-old, she's into it though. So I got one. And then my 2-year-old likes racing. So you got to have 3 kids to get what you need. But anyways, we've got a fucking huge show coming up on September 26th. Dale and I are obviously on the booking committee, self-appointed. You'll see us walking around in shirts and ties, which I bet I would love to see Dale Patrick. Sweaty ass Dale Patrick's in shirt and tie. That shirt would be sweat through in what, 6 minutes? And I'm a
you're
sweater.
Being nice.
Yeah. And let me tell you something, folks. Becky, you need, or not Becky. Who's the chick with the short hair in WWE? She just cut her hair.
Really narrows it down.
I think she's the champ on SmackDown.
Bailey
stole Dale's gimmick because Dale's a fucking hugger. Every time I see Dale, I get a hug. So, and it's always a sweaty hug. So,
yeah. Well, I'm sweaty all the time. So
yeah,
you get what you get.
I guarantee you this shirt is a darker gray on the back right now because it's hot in my office for some reason, and
it's hot outside.
Well, it's not here. It's nice and cool, but and Dale is signaling to the police that he's being held against his will. That's what the
help me.
Holler! If you hear me.
This dumbass guy will not let me get off of Skype. I don't know what to do. Yeah, we have back on task. Focus. Okay. September 26th, Emerson Theater, our normal venue, which is an amazing venue. I know I put the venue over a lot. It is an amazing building. It's an historic, awesome, cool building that anytime they want to do any work to the building, I can't look at that. I have to look at myself on Skype now. Anytime we have to do any construction in the building or anything, that Gary and the guys have to apply for special permits with the city. It's a cool building they used during Prohibition. It's a neat building that really lends itself well to wrestling, aside from the ring being at a little bit of a slope. But if you watch it like this, it looks fine. You won't even notice. I was going to take a shot at somebody, but I'm not. But aside from the ring being at a slope, which the guys working on just fine, it doesn't hold up any of the wrestling at all. It's such a cool building to be in. It's a concert hall now, but it's been a movie theater. One of the refs at the last show was actually telling me that he actually used to go see movies there when he was a kid growing up, which is actually pretty cool. Have that kind of go full circle. So I think we've kind of got so I know some things that I don't even think you know about the card that I've been sworn to not tell anybody. But Akira and Justin Kyle both have opponents that are not each other. And that's going to be kind of from what I'm being told, maybe a number 1 contender kind of tournament. And we're going to figure out who's going to get the belt in October. But the big focus of this show, there's 2 big focuses. One, the King of the Yard, the undefeated deathmatch wrestler that is Dale Patrick, hang on, gotta text the wife. picture day at school tomorrow, and I got to let her know what color shirt I picked up for my son. Or I will end up divorced before the night is over, and I'm a kept man. So
2 hours later.
Okay. Should have another night of harmony. So we've got 2 big names coming in from your world. 2 big deathmatch names. And the other big thing that happened is we have a vacant heavyweight title. So there's some really big things going on. The big names coming in are Chewy Martinez and Raven Havoc. Those are both guys that I'm sure. I don't know if you've. I didn't have time with work this week to jump on Cage Match and check, but I don't think you've squared up with either of them before.
Yeah, I've been in the ring with Chewy before.
Okay.
A handful of times.
Yeah, that's right. I did know that, and I even have that. I think 3 times is what I even have written down.
Yep.
But apparently enough weed and beer that I can't read my own handwriting. So we've got that. I don't think Gary will care if I break this match out. I don't think it's been announced yet. Oh, no, it has. It has. Raven Havoc and Alex Ocean. So Raven making his AWR in Indiana. Excuse me. Raven Havoc will be making his AWR in Indiana debut. Fuck, can you draw a tougher card than Alex Ocean, the guy that literally jumped off the top of I don't want to WWE it and say 38 foot tall, but I would say those speakers are 12 foot in the air.
I would say he jumped off at least 20 feet in the air,
yeah.
If not more.
So somewhere between 12 and 20 feet in the air. Now, he did not do it with his ass out, which would be the Dale Patrick special, but we're not going to fault him for that. When you went off the balcony at Justin Kyle, or at John Wayne Murdoch, Justin Kyle and I were kind of upstairs and got told to hold a chair so you could get up to the balcony. We thought you were hurt coming in the back.
Very fat.
Shoved Justin out of the way and shoved another wrestler out of the way and said, "Fucking move, hold this fucking chair." And I looked at Justin and I go, "He's gonna pull his pants down," and then you didn't. So we were both fairly shocked that you didn't come off that balcony ass out. But
so I don't mean to be a dickhead when in the midst of doing something. It just comes out because adrenaline's going.
Big
So
didn't bother me. And I was worried that I was trying to get Crystal upstairs, and I'm also an EMT and firefighter, so I was trying to see if you were hurt.
Well, my thing was I wasn't trying to have anyone be seen that was in the locker room. I was trying to get up there and get out to the ledge as quick as possible. And I did need help to get my fat ass over the ledge.
It didn't really probably want to think about jumping off that ledge very quick.
Yeah.
I mean, the longer you think about that, the more you're like, you know what, fuck this. Gary better have 2 hot dogs for me, right?
He at least gives me he at least gives me a nug and at least a Mountain Dew. So I think at least give him that.
Well, we always say everybody always gives deathmatch wrestlers a hard time for a hot dog and a handshake. At AWR, it's a milkshake and a hand job. At least that's what I get to do the podcast. Isn't that what you guys get?
Oh man. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm innocent. Didn't do anything.
Yeah, innocent and fucking nothing. But yeah, so you've got Chewy. You've worked him 3 or 4 times now. Does a game plan change when you've wrestled a guy, especially a guy like Chewy? He's a freaking seasoned vet. Dude's been in some wars too. How do you set up a game plan to go in there and you're going to welcome into your backyard? AWR, you're the fucking deathmatch king in AWR. You're the king of the yard, but you're undefeated in AWR. A lot of people are saying on Facebook and stuff that you're rightful to be in that #1 contender area. I know there's the potential of a secondary belt coming in, an Intercontinental level title. I hear your name mentioned a lot there. You've got Chewy who's for lack of a better way of putting it, done nothing in AWR. But this isn't an easy out. Gary is giving you someone really hard to deal with. Chewy's one of those guys that could come in and dethrone the. I mean, since February or January, you haven't lost. I mean, and to go well, even going all the way back to the tournament, you won the tournament. You know, it's I guess I'll ask two questions here. How do you prepare for a match with a guy you've been in a few times with, and he's going to know what you're going to do, and you know what he wants to do to you? And then, how do you feel about a guy coming in? You're the Asylum Deathmatch Tournament champion. You're undefeated, and you get fed a new guy. Like, how does that go?
To answer the first question, like you're saying, me and him have been in matches together a few times. Some we were even tagging. Some of them we didn't even, get to touch each other. And then the last one we had like a singles. I'm always under the impression of coming with something new, something that he's not going to expect. Now, what that something is, I'm not going to say, because obviously that's giving it away. So, to answer the second one, the respect factor kind of comes into play amongst someone being new, because he's definitely not new to this. He was trained by Necro Butcher, so the best of the best when it comes to this craft. So when he comes into the Asylum and he goes up against me, there's going to be an all-out war. Easy way of putting it.
Right, and you had a rough out last month. I mean, Gary is not taking it easy on you. In the last 2 months, you've had John Wayne Murdoch, who at Insane 8, generally I do try and avoid talking about other promotions, but Insane 8 was Sunday night. John Wayne Murdoch had one of the best death matches I've ever seen there. Kicking out of moves on a car. And then you've had Chuck Stein, who he's kind of the big dog in Detroit. He stopped Peter Be Beautiful and got Peter Be Beautiful kicked out of his home promotion. So, and you've beat both of those guys. And I got to say that, while John wasn't an easy out, Chuck more or less was. I mean, the Chuck match pretty much went your way the whole way. Chuck ended up going through the barbed wire net that I still have scars on my arm from helping build. And you got the 1, 2, 3. So, it's a third big dog that's coming to your yard that you're gonna have to run out of the yard.
I always take any challenge as seriously as I can, in the sense of I'm not looking at them at like, oh, this is going to be an easy night. I don't do that, because that's when you least expect something for them to do to you, and that's where problems happen. I always come in very focused.
And that's probably what Aiden Blackheart thought when he got dealt Charlie Cruel. He probably thought he was going to come in, make his AWR reappearance, have an easy night, and Charlie beat the living dog shit out.
Whipped his ass.
She wore his ass out, 120 pounds at the most, Charlie Cruel, and Aiden Blackheart's north of me, and I'm 220. She wore his ass out. And I don't know how Aiden didn't break his arm on that guardrail. From where you and I were standing, his arm bent like this.
Dude.
And it was one of the scarier spots, because I'm like, all right, do I have to be Firefighter Max now, or do I get to hang out and be stoned Chronicles of the Asylum Max? Because we were letting up kite string. We were getting a little high.
Yep.
Aiden got up and came to the back, and I think everybody was, Aiden, are you all right? Why does everybody keep asking me that? And we're like, you should not see how your arm bent, apparently. Yeah. But as soon as you have your guard let down, you catch an ass whooping.
Yeah.
So maybe that's a good thing that they're keeping you in there with these tough dudes that are keeping that sword sharp.
I mean, also you're learning. I know as much people don't like to put this out there, but I always learn every time I go into a death match. I always learn something new, something that some people probably don't even think of it that way. I'm not trying to put myself over. That's the least thing I'm trying to do. I'm
Yes,
just trying to say I look at shut up. I'm trying to look at it at the perspective of something that was once taught to me seminars when coming into school is that you're always going to learn something new every time you step in the ring. Well, every time I step in the ring and do a death match with someone like a Chuck Stein or a Trio Martinez or Johnny Murdoch, you come out a better person. You come out a more rounded individual. So that's why I try to strive for. I don't try to fucking think I'm the best because I know I'm not the fucking best. I still got a long fucking ways to go. So I want to go in there and I want to learn every single time I go in there. And if that means I got to take some ass whoopings and give some ass whoopings, that's fine with me. So it's got to happen.
Let's get to the elephant that's been in the room for 2 months. And we're going to...
Me?
Yeah. I prefer to think of myself as an elephant, but yeah. It's because of the trunk I got down there. Old WCW fans like that. Remember when the Click, when they came over, meet me where? Down there. Yeah. You have to explain your joke. It's not good, but whatever. I'm making myself laugh. That's all that matters. Real quick, do you ever listen to The Lapsed Fan?
Do I ever listen to The Last Dab?
Lapsed Fan. It's a WW. It's okay. So go on whatever your podcast player is, and this is everybody listening. Everybody's an old school wrestling fan. It's geared for guys that I'm going to assume are pretty much all of our ages, from like the golden era of what I call WWE and WCW. From like they're doing right now, they're going through the War Games, and so they started in '87. They're to '92 right now in the War Games, but they've done every Starrcade, every WWE WrestleMania, and they just go through. And the reason I brought it up is they get so much shit for laughing at their own jokes, but they also get like $9,000 a month on Patreon because they're just like this huge dude. They're huge. Jimmy Lloyd or Chundo. Yeah. He's a big fan, and he and I have talked about it a couple of times. There's a few guys that I know, a few workers are into it, and all they do is run down the business too, which is hilarious. They're like, what the fuck would inspire someone to want to be in this demented, stupid fucking business? Yep. And as I'm like knocking down the door to try and come in as hard as I can, I'm like, I do have a pretty solid life, wife, 3 kids, good job at the house, but for some reason, once a month on Sunday, I drive my truck 2.5 hours south to hang out with a bunch of rejects and dummies, and party for 6 hours. So it's a weird business, but I freaking love it. And I said on that picture that Gary posted a while back, when I reached out to Gary that day driving to my parents' house to go work on the race car, about sponsoring the car and talking about a podcast, I didn't expect to get a family and friends, but like that AWR locker room is a family. It's really, really awesome. And some things have happened to the Indiana wrestling family over the last few months that have really, I think, bonded a lot of us close, and we understand exactly that, I come from the firefighting and law enforcement background where we are taught that you're your brother's keeper right away. And that's how it is in the wrestling world too. And I think getting back into the locker room like that is very cathartic and very good for your soul. To get a little sappy there for a second. But so I don't really know how we got to that. We got so fucking far away from Raven Havoc coming into AW2.
To finish off of that, the whole family thing, for me, it's hard to say the word family. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to have your brothers and you're going to have people that you respect and sisters and all that stuff. I've been burnt before.
Mm-hmm. And for those of you that don't know, because Dale's not going to do it because he's a good enough guy.
No.
3 times. I won't give examples, but 3 times Dale should have been on the national level. If you're smart enough to read Wikipedia and you're smart enough to read about things, Dale should have blown up 3 times. Through nothing of his own, had the wool pulled out from underneath him, rug pulled out from underneath him, wool pulled over his eyes. And Dale could be the most hateful, spiteful person in this business there is, and he's not. So when he's saying he's been there before and been burnt, he truly has. Sorry, go ahead.
To me, like, people accepting of families. It's cool. I understand the concept. I get it. It's very attitude-wise, it helps, especially in times like, the last several months. People haven't been in the best of moods or the best mentally. So having, family there to help works outside of like your real life or whatever. Wrestling family helps, but you can't always. Something's going to be hard for people to take. You can't always trust everyone. You got to pick and choose who you would take a bullet for or fight for, or you consider a brother. For me, I always look at promotion as business. I respect the fact that, they're considering me family. That means a lot to me. I'm humbled at that juncture, that I'm even considered in that light. But it's going to take me a while to get to that point of trust again, like I said, because I've been burnt, scarred, all 9 yards, man. And
guys, you don't know what he's talking about. It's easy enough to figure out what he's talking about, but
it goes for anyone, not just me. It goes for anyone who's been in the same situation in different companies, not just one particular one or whatever. Anyone who's knows what I'm talking about will understand and know how to separate business from personal. That line that people.
Well, and I guess I should say I think there's probably 6 ride or dies in that locker room. There's probably 6 or 8 guys that come and go, but there's 6 ride or die guys in that locker room that if somebody came upstairs and said, "Max, this guy's in a fight," obviously if a fan's going after somebody, we're all going down the steps, and it's going to be a bad day for whoever decided to do that.
Oh, yeah.
But if somebody said that, it's like I said, you, John, Justin, there's a few guys, and I know Justin's an asshole, but he's our asshole. Neil, I think, firmly ingratiated himself into that spot after that war with John last at Ride to the Core. There's a few guys in that locker room that are ride or die, and I hope someday to be in that same group that guys consider, Max is down, Max is bowdy. If we got to do something, Max is down. So that's what I kind of is, to go off on a little tangent myself. That's what I kind of strive for, is to show that I'm there for AWR. I'm there, I do this podcast for not a whole lot of money, not Dale Patrick's money, we'll just say, but mainly to help get the show over and sell tickets and help the guys. I had this skill that I learned to work in radio when I was a kid. Can't wrestle, so this is what I can do to help. But yeah, kind of circle back to the car, or this is going to be a 3.5-hour podcast, which,
Oops.
by the way, if you listen to the lap span, they're like 9 hours long. Well worth every minute of 9 hours, and when it's over, you're like, fuck, I need more of that. The good news is it's been going on for like 6 years, so there's plenty. Raven Havoc and Alex Ocean in a gusset fuckery death match. That's going to be insane. Raven's a sick motherfucker that will take any bump, any spot out there.
There's a lot of cool names that they add to stipulations. Like all the weapons they have, always cool stipulations.
Yeah, stipulations. That's your match with Chewy is going to be a stipulations match.
It's not even that. It's a fancy.
I'm on the booking committee.
It's not even a cool one.
Oh, I think it's very cool, and I'm on the booking committee now, so I can make that happen.
Oh my god. I can already tell that one's going to get run to the ground real quick.
Oh, it's kind of what I do is I run shit into the ground. People are going to be tired of it, and I'm going to be doing it in 4 years. Just like my wife, every time we go to a restaurant and I order an iced tea, and they say, "Do you need sugar?" No, thanks, I'm sweet enough. Funny once, I've been married for 10 years. Guess who's heard that once a week for the last 10 years? So about 520 times. My wife. Guess who was tired of it 9 years and 6 months ago?
Your wife.
She's never going to stop doing it.
Respect.
Still pops the boys, right? As long as biggest marks are in the back.
Respect. I got respect.
But yeah, I mean, Alex and Raven. So John and Neil did a death match at Rotten to the Core that's got the potential to be if Melter or whatever rate death match is what you want. Probably a 4 to 4.25 star death match. Alex and Raven have a potential to have a true 5-star death match, I think. I'm curious again, these are both guys in your wheelhouse. I mean, you're not taking anything away from you. You're a solid catch-as-catch-can, strong style guy as well. But as death matches go, you're kind of the king of the yard. You've got some titles to your, you've done some things. How do you see this going? Kind of break it down for me and go ahead and give me a pick too.
Alex and Raven.
Yeah.
They're both.
And I'm interviewing Raven tomorrow night, so if you don't pick him, I'm going to let him know, and I'm interviewing Alex next week. So either way, they're going to know, and you're going to have heat, brother.
God damn it! Fuck. They're both fairly new to death matches, I think. Don't quote me on this.
I think Alex is about 2 years in, and Raven about there. Raven kind of really got a name going when he got that rivalry with Kit.
Yeah.
Out east. And Alex decided to break his fucking neck in a death match. So, yeah. Alex also took a gusset plate to the dick.
Hey. So, using extremities to the dick, to the ass.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm not going to give an answer. I can't give one.
How do you see that going, though? So you got a guy that likes to fly and ain't scared of shit, and just took what some people will say is our number one contender to the heavyweight title in Justin Kyle. According to Drew Skills, Justin should have the belt already.
I feel like to me, if he underestimates Raven and he goes into it thinking that he's just gonna immediately beat him, I think he's got another thing coming. I think that's what will catch him off guard.
Yeah, there's a lot of
it can go anyway.
So we also have Shooters Don't Die, which is Miles and Hudson, and West Company, which is the only tag team match announced for the tournament so far. By the time this comes out, the other matches will probably be announced, but Gary gets really mad when I announce his matches on the podcast before he's released them on Facebook, so I'm not going to do that. Original Sins, Capital Vice, The Tribunal, and Hustle and Muscle are all also expected to take place. Remember, Shooters Don't Die had Who Spencer in a qualification match at Fallout, Rotten to the Core. And they've got West Company, which is going to be an easy out. And Randy West is going to be in the locker room in their corner. She's going to be in the locker room too, I'm sure. It'd be hard for her to walk out with me if she wasn't in the locker room. Maybe we can get Randy to do a death match. Randy versus Charlie.
Hopefully.
I
like to have a death match with Randy.
Yeah, Randy versus Dale and Chewy. Holy shit. I'm on the booking committee. I'm going to make that happen. Hear me out. I don't know if we could ever make it happen. Josh Crane, who's been announced for the card. Dale Patricks. Randy West. Mickey Knuckles.
Fuck yeah.
How for Midwest deathmatch fans, that's kind of fucking amazing.
Mickey Knuckles, I've had one death match with her when I first started doing death matches, and I've always wanted to have another, like just a singles death match. So that's always been on my mind. That's been like a bucket list goal. So, hell, even like a tag team match, me and Josh versus Mickey and Randy. Hey,
cool.
Money.
The other match, while we're fantasy booking, the other match I would love to see is Too Tough and Pondo versus the Rejects.
Dude, yeah.
Dude, how great would that be? I mean, and we got to do it because Reed's I think Reed's about done in death matches. He doesn't do a whole lot anymore. which respect, they've been around a long time, and I get it. But, I mean, how awesome would that be?
Yeah.
That would be one of those matches that would take us all back to when we were like 19. But yeah, that's enough fantasy booking. Shooters Don't Die in West Company is going to be good. Miles and Hudson are young, hungry dudes. And, they talk about Road Warrior pop. Did you hear Miles' Road Warrior pop that he got? Miles got the biggest, and no slight to you. I know you were on the card. We had big names on that card last month. Miles got the biggest pop of the night.
Yeah, for sure.
Miles is fucking over and a great wrestler, and will not respond to me on Facebook Messenger. He was supposed to respond to me by 3 o'clock yesterday on if Shooters Don't Die wants to come on, and won't, but it is what it is. I think I know a guy that knows him, and maybe he can be like, dude, just go to Max for a half hour. But yeah, so that should be. I'm looking forward to that. West Company coming in, making their AWR debut. Big words. Sometimes I forget them. Along with Original Sin, Capital Vice, the Tribunal, and Hustle and Muscle, all kind of making their debuts in AWR. I know you've been banging around these shows for a long time. You've probably seen a lot of these tag teams. What advice do you have to give to these younger tag teams that are coming in and looking for? Sorry, my 19-year-old's texting me, and it's weird that he texted me this late. What advice do you have for these tag teams that would be coming into AWR, coming into the Emerson Theater? And honestly, I know Shooters Don't Die had to win their spot in, whereas everybody else was giving it. But you're in Shooters Don't Die's backyard. What advice do you kind of have for everybody?
Don't come in open-handed. Expect to work for what you're going to get.
That's pretty solid advice. So we'll move on because we're rolling up on an hour here pretty quick, and we both have to work in the morning. So right now we've got 3 names that are released to be on the card, but we don't know who they're going to wrestle. We've got your homie Josh Crane.
Yes,
we've got Justin Kyle, and we've got Akira.
Young Dragons.
So let's talk about Josh first. Josh is making his AWR debut. Josh is not new to the Indiana wrestling scene. Josh has been up and down the roads, up and down US 41, 69, 65 for a long time.
He's an old young man.
He's one of those dudes that's going to be like 65 and still look. He has looked the same age since 2011.
He is 3 to 4 years younger than me. If that would tell you anything.
And you're 47, so he's 44.
Wrong. I feel like I'm fucking in my 40s, but I'm 28 and he's like 3 or 4 years younger than me, and he's been in the business for 12 years. So definitely been doing this for a while.
I'm pretty rusty at math, but that means he started at 16, which is insane.
Yeah. Yep.
Josh is gonna, I think, because Josh was in that match at CZW that didn't really serve a purpose when Blackout and those guys ran in. So I think a lot of times Josh kind of gets miscast as a just a deathmatch guy, but he's way more than that.
Yeah. It's sad to see people like that has the talent of Ace Perry or Josh Crane. It's sad to see that. I mean, yeah, they both have done stuff, but when is there going to be the glass breaking moment where they're TV fucking good to go, be on yourself, fucking make some money? It hurts sometimes seeing people like that. me myself, I don't give a shit. I would rather see, Ace Perry, Josh Crane, fucking handful of other people that, they know who they are, who deserve to be on TV. Just they're at that ceiling where they can't, you know what I mean?
Josh
Like,
is a world traveler. Josh did a Japanese tour.
yeah,
years
he's
ago.
been in Japan twice, and just it feels like he's been stagnant, at least to me, and he should be doing way more. I don't know if people aren't just seeing him or not seeing him in the right place, or it's not right place, right time. I mean, then you also got, the behind the scenes politics that could play a fucking role in it, which.
But the behind the scenes story of Josh's life too is a great story to tell.
Yeah. I think.
I don't want to tell. I don't know how much of it's completely in the open, so I don't want to tell anything.
Yeah, I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to let him tell that. But I think sometimes people, from people I've heard talk about it, I feel like people see that as a crutch. That's why he got his opportunities, and that's not it at all. If you see Josh and if you have watched Josh, he works his ass off. He's not, motherfucker ain't dumb. Motherfucker's pretty smart. He knows what he's doing. And the fact that he's not doing this on a national level is bullshit. It's kind of like the Eddie Kingston story. He was always there, but he's not made it to that point. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm here to say, I think if Josh lives, and I think the same about you, and Justin as well. I think if we all lived in Florida, you guys are all AEW, at least enhancement talent. If not, starting to get a little bit of a run, getting that Joey Janela kind of thing. And that's the thing that shocks me about Alex Ocean is such a good wrestler, tells such a good story, and he lives in fucking Florida. Like, I don't know how he's not.
Who's to know? Like, for me, you can't go into it and be like, oh, why am I not this? Why am I not that? To me, I have to look at it as a standpoint of, well, I'm doing something wrong, so let's try to figure out what it is and fix it. And to me, I don't want to get bitter. That's the one point that I think everyone's at. They don't want to be bitter over things not going their way or not happening professionally. So I
the
know.
style you guys all kind of work isn't the most TV friendly. However, Japan loves to bring in gaijin. Like, that's not a thing that they're afraid to do. They don't mind paying you guys to travel, and you can make a decent living. You're probably not paying all your bills all year long on Freedoms and Big Japan tours, but you're definitely going to make better money than you do in the U.S. And I think once coronavirus lifts and all that stuff, I do think we're going to start to see, I think what will happen for those of us on the booking committee, it's going to get a lot harder. It's going to get a lot harder to grab these U.S. deathmatch guys because Mexico's going to blow. Mexico's already blowing up. Oren's done a tour. Akura's done a tour. John Wayne's done a tour. Aiden's been to Mexico. Have you been to Mexico? No. Josh has been to Japan twice. The Japanese are very appreciative of what the young American kids are working. And I think it's only a matter of another guy that he's not an AWR guy, but whatever, we'll talk about him. Shane Mercer. He's a guy that, especially if he wants to do death matches, dude, he's going to go to Japan and make a living. He's going to be able to come back and live where he lives and the part of the U.S. he lives in very comfortably with what Japan will pay him to go and do death matches because they don't have guys like him that are bench pressing 500 pounds. That just doesn't exist. Yeah. So let's go to Akura. Our number one contender, and I never know if I say his name right. Is it Akira? Akira. Correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't that a Japanese women's wrestler in the late 80s, early 90s, like Akira Hoshito or something?
I can't say. I don't want to sound like an idiot. I also don't know.
I feel like it was. Anyways, Akira, he's the number one contender to our heavyweight title. I've had people blowing up Facebook saying, if you have a number one contender, you don't have a belt held up. just hand him the belt. I would say that, and then I would say, look at the UFC's light heavyweight division. Bones drop the belt, and there's a title fight for it. So that being said, I think I like a fighting champion. I don't think we just hand Akira the belt. I don't think we just hand Justin Kyle the belt. And I think we should probably give 2 other guys a chance. You're already tied up. You've got to welcome in a really tough hand. Where do you think, if we're on the booking committee, so we obviously have a lot of pull in this, but where do you think we go with Akira? Do you give him somebody that's in the locker room? Brent Havoc, for example, has no losses. He's got officially one official match in AWR, and a bullhorn that someone is going to shove up his ass one of these days. But do you give him a guy like that and say, you still got to, even though you're the number one contender, you got to prove yourself in a title eliminator fight? Where do you kind of see him going with Akira?
I think for Akira, he needs someone better. Not saying not going off by work rate. I'm going off.
And Akira
by
just beat Akira just beat an OVW regular who's everyone's real hot on in Lance Storm. And Akira in a last man standing match looked really good. He stumbled a little bit at the Insane 8 this weekend, but you're not going to win every tournament you're in. I don't even look at tournament losses as losses. I consider tournaments completely separate from everything else. So, go ahead. I just wanted to touch on that real quick.
I think he needs someone who's been around and who's done this longer than him. He needs that kind of challenge. Then you really will know.
The thought I had is throw John Wayne Murdoch in there against him.
That's happened. You want something new, something that hasn't happened.
True. That's true. But just to put John in there.
He's a reject. So
he is a reject. I can tell you that
new and fresh.
The rejects will fight each other for $20.
Oh yeah. So. Anyone would fight each other for $20 if the.
Right. Were you wearing a shirt that said "I'm not gay, but a 20's a 20"?
No.
No, it wasn't you. Oh, that was me. And then we got Justin Kyle, who came into your yard, kind of, at Rotten to the Core. Which, by the way, everybody, that show title is not a shot at anyone that took that as a shot. We were horsing around about it on the podcast, but if you're that thin-skinned and that weak-minded that you think it's a shot at you, bro, the world's not built around you. I'll tell you right now, I live in Lowell, Indiana. Come on up here if you think I'm talking shit about you, because I guarantee you don't want to catch these hands. These have done shoots. I wasn't taking shots at you. Keep my name out of your mouth. Sorry. And I'm not scared of your son either. It's after a fucking Jelly Roll song. It's after Jelly Roll. Come on. Anyways, Justin Kyle came into your backyard. It was supposed to be a street fight, and then fucking Justin Kyle, who's never bled in a match, had one of the best trims and masks I've ever seen. Justin Kyle, who was at one point, Sean looks at me and goes, "Is Justin Kyle swinging tubes?" Yeah, Justin Kyle swinging tubes. It was. I know you were getting ready. You were stretching. You were getting ready to go and getting your brain in a certain place that you have to go do a death match with one of the toughest guys in Michigan. Another one of the toughest guys from Michigan was tearing our arena apart. But you got to kind of respect that for a guy that's never crossed into the light tubes and tables and chairs world to do that, right?
Yeah, respect. Hell, I'm not going to be like, oh no, he can't do this stuff or anything like that. No, by all means, if
it would make a much better podcast if you would.
I can't, man. I'm not like that.
Those Nick Gage promos were so awesome because you were so pissed off, and then
Nick had it coming. He had it coming.
I can't wait.
He deserved it.
Yeah, one of these days, an AWR ring, Gail Patrick's and Nick Gage, it's got to happen.
I don't think it's going to happen, but we'll see if he mans up and has the balls to come here. I don't know. Anyways, by all means, if you fucking go out there and make a name for yourself, kid, by all means, fucking good on Justin Kyle.
Yeah.
Awesome job.
And Justin's a legit shooter, MMA background. The guy's a dominant, tough dude. Alex Ocean jumped off from anywhere from 12 to 20 foot, depending on if you're talking to me or Dale.
Okay, go hard.
I think I need Dale to measure some stuff in the locker room some night for me, if he's calling that 20 feet, because I might be swinging a rod.
Damn, boy, he's thick. Boy, that's a thick-ass boy. Damn.
You know, he also took that jump, and Alex Ocean's not a little dude. And the table won. I feel like, so AWR made their first ever Botchamania last week. I feel like we're going to get I Am the Table next week or the week after when this show comes out. I don't know how you feel about being on Botchamania, but I thought it was fucking awesome to see the AWR on there. There's no such thing as bad press.
Dude, I think, oh man, everyone is. I look at Botchamania as it's funny.
Yeah.
You're taking yourself too seriously if you don't if you get on there and you're like, oh man,
you're marked for yourself, bro.
Yeah, fuck it.
That was a Kevin Nash impression. If you didn't get it,
it's love it. Knew it immediately.
Gotta swirl the Pinot.
To me, I take it as shit happens, and sometimes it doesn't go your way. So, if you make it on something like that, you gotta take it as it's not a jab at you for sucking. No, it's just something that's funny. Oh shit, okay, the door's supposed to break, but obviously it didn't break. Pretty fucking hilarious.
I don't know who brought those doors, but those doors were the stiffest freaking doors I've ever seen. Between the doors and the ukulele, we had some of the stiffest gimmick stuff that was not gimmicked.
Dude, sometimes you run into that sort of stuff. Hold on, got to turn on the fucking
phone. We were dealing with the ghost of Dale Patrick.
Yeah. You got to go into that open-minded. You can't. It's all about perspective. You gotta take it as a funny haha, not a go fuck yourself.
Well, I look at, man, we are covering a lot of topics on this episode. I feel bad for Gary when he has to write the 4-line synopsis. It's gonna be like two dumbass stoners riff for an hour and a half.
Haha, Gary, eat my ass, Gary.
That'll be fun when it trends. I look at Botchamania is always in fun. Yeah. But trash baggers and some of that stuff is not. And
perspective. That's how you look at it.
Yeah, it's if you're laughing with me, it's fine. And when you're laughing at me, it's not okay. But yeah, somehow we got to there. Who knows? But anyway, September 23rd, Emerson Theater, downtown Indianapolis.
26th, not 23rd.
26th. Yeah. It's just...
Get the fuck out of here!
I have notes written above it for my real job, and it's the 13th, and I just transpose numbers. September 23rd is nothing.
For real? Damn, it must be true.
It's 3 days before September
to
Remember. And then September 25th is September to Remember Eve. You got to set the cookies and the milk out for
Dale.
September to Remember Claus. And then September 26th.
Which is me. You guys set the cookies and milk out for me.
Right.
Thanks.
Set your cookies and milk out for Dale. He'll swing by your house and probably
ask before entering. Hey, may I have your cookies and milk? Always gotta have consent.
Yeah. Don't want to get canceled. We'll be in the locker room. It's 5. Where's Dale? Oh yeah, didn't you hear? He got arrested. He was breaking into people's house to eat cookies and milk.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, you would have been fine, except he didn't have pants on. He had his ass out. So
me had my ass out.
Weird. He was wearing a Harley Quinn jacket and his ass was out. So
Got it.
running around Indianapolis. Man, that's a mental picture that I'm never going to be able to escape.
Hey.
But big stuff going on September 26th. And remember, that's a Saturday. It's going to be our first Saturday show. We're going to see how that goes. We'll make life so much better for the podcast guy that's got a 2.5 hour drive. But again, come out and show Gary that, and the other owner who does not want his name mentioned.
Vince Russo.
Oh, shit! I didn't say that. That Indiana will support wrestling on a Saturday night. There's a company in Indianapolis that's here on Fridays for 23, 24 years. We're never going to step on that. That's a big respect thing there. I think you're actually wearing their t-shirt right now. Yeah. It doesn't. What's it say on your t-shirt there?
It says, thick boy.
Oh, yeah.
But Saturdays are kind of wide open. The 26th, somebody else is running a show that they announced after our show. Whatever. There's plenty of people in Indianapolis. We're going to have 200 people at the show, and we're going to have a party. Speaking of that, guys, big things are important. I saw a lot of people with no masks on, masks pulled down. Remember, for Dale to do his job, for me to do my job, we can't have our masks on. However, I have kids. Dale has a family. I have a wife that tolerates me. We need to keep our families and stuff safe. So when you're in the arena, unless you're taking a drink or eating something, put your damn mask on. The other thing is, with a tag team tournament, with all this stuff, we're going to sell a lot of tickets, and we are limited by the state of Indiana how many people can be there. Get your tickets early. AsylumWrestlingRevolution.com. It's long, but if you Google it, it will come up. Even if you misspell every word like this guy does. Google is smart enough to know what you mean. So yeah, go and get your tickets early. $10 general admission, $20 VIP. You get a chance if you wear your mask and you buy VIP, you get a chance to come in, take a picture with Dale, take a picture with Akira, take a picture with Justin Kyle, Josh Crane. These guys are not going to be around forever. Justin and Akira, Dale are going to be, I firmly believe when COVID lifts, are going to be gone. Dale will have to go back to his job at the meat locker.
There you
go. The other two are going to be professional wrestlers. Dale will be, in a meat packing plant.
I'll be in my yard.
Right. But in all honesty, I think Dale, the time of us getting Dale full time in the U.S. is short as well.
Swerve.
Because Trump's gonna kick him out. But anyways, this is a show that you're gonna want to get your tickets to ahead of time. We had tickets. We did not sell out last month. I think running the same day as the Indy 500 hurt us a little bit. But I do firmly believe with the tag team tournament, bringing in some of these names that people haven't seen before, and Raven Havoc and Alex Ocean, Dale Patrick, and Chewy Martinez. I mean, those are two big death matches and there's no big death match shows on that weekend. So come on out, get your tickets early. AsylumWrestlingRevolution.com for all those tickets. My name is Max. That crazy motherfucker over there is Dale Patrick. Thank you guys.
Go fuck yourself.
Hey, get the fuck out of here! It's about to get crazy. Oh my God!
You better watch out for Miles.
Give me two, that was fun.
Yeah.
A lot of respect held between both these men.